Uh-oh, Nancy Pelosi's dirty family secret just came out. Wait till you see this. Watch it before it's deleted from YouTube. Paris Swade for Liberty Writers News reports in recent days, Nancy Pelosi has publicly supported the removal of Confederate statues. Last Thursday, she actually called for Republicans to help remove the statues after Charlottesville. And it seems these days everything is offensive to libtards. So much that one Trump supporter, Christopher Halzonitis, well, he made this remarkable observation saying that being offended is the lifeblood of the progressive liberal movement. And I could not agree more with Chris here on this topic. Yes, that's all they want. They just want to be offended. It must tickle them to feel that emotion. They must feel alive when they're angry, you know, so they have to continue to find things that offend them. And now it's inanimate objects in city parks. Anyway, these people have lost their freaking minds. Now, last week, Nancy Pelosi, Skeletor herself, she announced that she was epically offended when she declared that the, quote, the Confederate statues in the halls of Congress have always been reprehensible. Yes, the the same statues that she's been walking past for the last 30 years that she's been in Congress, okay? She said, quote, if Republicans are serious about rejecting white supremacy, I call upon Speaker Paul Ryan to join Democrats to remove the Confederate statues from the Capitol immediately. Now, here's Pelosi's dirty secret. We reported on this earlier, but it really bears repeating, okay? Nancy Pelosi's actual connection to these statues. Here's Ron Meyer from Red Alert Politics. He dropped a bombshell on Fox and Friends about Nancy Pelosi. Take a look.
These are right where Nancy Pelosi left them when she was Speaker of the House. The truth is that she was the Speaker of the House, Democrats controlled Congress, and President Obama was president. If they wanted to get those statues out of there, they could have. And the truth is that the Democrats have a really pretty poor history on civil rights, including Nancy Pelosi's own father, who was the mayor of Baltimore and was one of the people who dedicated statues to Robert E. Lee and to Stonewall Jackson, and in his speech said that they defended sacred institutions. What are those sacred institutions? One of those is slavery. And the truth is the Democrat Party has a history of opposing civil rights, favoring Jim Crow laws, and also defended slavery back when the Civil War happened. And so the truth is the Democrats are Johnny-come-latelys to this movement.
That's something you're not going to see put out by MSNBC, CNN, that Nancy Pelosi's own father, the mayor of Baltimore, one of the people who dedicated statues to Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. Okay? She, and I said this in my last report when we covered this as well. Is she going to come out and denounce her father? Okay? Who was defending the sacred institutions that he said? And what are those sacred institutions? Yeah. Slavery he was talking about. So do your part right now. Let's ruin Nancy Pelosi's day by sharing this all across the internet. The world needs to know just how crooked Pelosi really is. And also this statement here from Halzonitis, Chris Halzonitis, that being offended is the lifeblood of the progressive liberal movement. You know, that's exactly true. That is a statement that's definitely historic in its own right. So share this out there, patriots. Comment below. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if you like what we're doing here, give us a thumbs up. Just like Chris is doing here in this picture. Yeah, give us a thumbs up. Thanks for sending that in, Chris. We appreciate what you're doing out there for Donald Trump and the conservative movement. What are your thoughts? Comment below. See you there at the next report.
Trey Gowdy's on that hearing. He's on that committee. He's with me now. And, sir, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I want to cut through all of this for our viewers so we can understand this together. Where are we and where are we going? Take the first question. Where
Bill,
are we
this
today?
This is the simplest way to understand it. All things criminal or quasi-criminal, that is the special counsel. That is Bob Mueller. That is not Congress. So if it's not criminal or quasi-criminal, the House has a role to play. And we've been asked to answer 4 questions. What did the Russians do in 2016? With whom, if anyone, did they do it? What was the U.S. government's response during the pendency of those attacks in 2016? And then there's the issue of the leaks and the unmasking. Jay Johnson addresses 3 of those 4 congressional tranches, and most importantly, because he was part of the intelligence community and the head of DHS in 2016, When did we know what Russia was doing, and what was our response? Because clearly it was before the November election.
So if he's responsible for 3 of the 4, what's the 4th thing that he's responsible for? What will you not hear about today?
I'd be shocked if we ask any questions of Jay Johnson with respect to leaks. There may be. I don't pretend to know what others will ask, but I've never heard his name connected with any leaks, and I'd be surprised if that question was asked.
Okay, let me go through a series of questions. What happened when Bob Mueller met with members of the committee yesterday?
Again, that is an effort to keep our lanes completely clear. And, Bill, as you know, I used to be in that lane. I want to stay so far away from what Bob Mueller is doing. I don't want to interview the same witnesses. I don't want to get involved in immunity discussions. He has a critically important role to play, and I want to get the heck out of his way. That was my purpose in meeting with him.
All right. Do you want to share with us the content or any of the context of that conversation?
Only this. I have a lot of respect for him. I knew him when he was the FBI director. He has a really, really hard job in a hyper-political environment running a serious investigation. But if anyone can do that, I think it would be Bob Mueller.
Do you have evidence of collusion today?
No, I have seen no evidence of collusion.
Okay,
but
Adam Schiff, a Democrat, said he thinks there is evidence of collusion.
Oh, he said a lot more than that,
What
Bill.
does he know that you don't know?
Nothing. He said a lot more than that. He said that he's seen evidence that's more than circumstantial but not direct. He said he's seen evidence, but he can't tell us what it is. He's seen evidence that doesn't rise to the level of beyond a reasonable doubt. One reason that Bob Mueller's investigation, I think, ultimately will be respected, and congressional investigations in the past have not been, is we have a tendency to politicize almost everything. We are 10% into the witnesses that we're going to interview, and yet there are members of Congress who are prejudging the outcome, who are relying on this, I've seen evidence, but I can't tell you what it is. Nothing undercuts the confidence of your viewers, quite like someone saying, I know more than you do, it's really bad, and I'm not going to tell you what it is.
All right, here's another allegation, obstruction of justice. You're a prosecutor. Based on what you know, does that stand up today?
I have no way of knowing. I have not interviewed a single solitary witness. There are 2 really important witnesses in that tranche. One is Jim Comey and one is President Trump. And I am sure that Bob Mueller is going to interview everyone on the periphery that can help answer that question.
So you're leaving the door open on that. You have not closed that. There was not a yes or no answer.
I never close doors until the last witness has been interviewed. I think it is reckless and irresponsible to do so. I have no idea what the last witness is going to say. So why would I prejudge the outcome of an investigation until it's over?
Jay Johnson is going to say the following, in part, 45 minutes from now on screen. In 2016, the Russian government, at the direction of Russian President Vladimir Putin himself, orchestrated cyber attacks on our nation for the purpose of influencing our election, plain and simple. He will also state there is no evidence that votes were changed, and that is a critical point in all of this. I think sometimes, arguably, it gets lost. But this is the key. Russia tried to hack and influence, but we don't know how far they achieved their ends. Is that our understanding as of today?
Yeah, that's a really good summary, and I think you put your finger on the seminal part of Jay Johnson's testimony, which is there is no evidence that voter tallies or voter totals were changed. There's frankly no evidence that the Russians were successful in their efforts to infiltrate the voter infrastructure. The third point I would say is, okay, if we knew this was going on during the election, what did we do about it? All of what we're doing now, Bill, is retrospective. If we knew the Russians had done it in the past and we knew they were doing it in 2016, what was the U.S. government's response in the summer and fall of 2016? That's a very interesting point,
because Jay Johnson had a then. So clearly you have to ask him that and figure that out.
Yes, he did. Yes, sir.
Labor Day, you said last night, you hope to have this wrapped up. Is that realistic? Because by Washington terms, that's flying.
It is flying. We are picking up the pace. There are a number of witness interviews that have already been scheduled. Quite frankly, in all candor, Bill, we were a little slow out of the gates, but I think we have that corrected. The most important thing is to agree on the witness list, and then you can start structuring the order of the witnesses Tom Rooney and I are doing the questioning on the Republican side. We are willing to come up early. We're willing to stay late. We're willing to work weeks that we're not in session. I think we owe it to the American people to do this as well, as efficiently as we can.
I opened this interview by asking two questions. Where are we and where are we going? Answer the second question now. Where is this headed?
On the House side, I hope it's going towards a report that your viewers can have confidence in answering those 4 questions that we were asked to answer.
Criminal or not, sir?
I have no idea. That's Bob Mueller. That's my old job. I'm not qualified to speak to that.
Understood. Trey